Hello and welcome. My name is Mark, and today I'm going to show you how I'm going to set up my CO2 setup for my Planet Aquarium. I've got a Fluval Edge 12 gallon, and this will be my first time setting up a CO2 system. I did some pretty good research, so I know I got all the pieces I need. So I'm going to go over here and show you what I have. I have the dual gauge regulator. I got this from Aquatech of California, aquatech-california.com, and here you've got the two dials. You have the pressure on the tank side, and then you have the pressure on the needle valve side, and you've got a cord, of course, that hooks up to a timer so you could control when the gas is being released from the valve. And then I've got the bubble counter with a integrated check valve. The bubble counter, of course, tells you the rate at which you're adding gas to the tank, and the check valve just prevents water from being backed up in through backwards into the regulator and all the equipment. So just like you would have for an air valve, but this is for a CO2 gas valve. And then I've got an adapter here so I could use this paintball canister. I didn't want to use a big CO2 canister, so I've got this one that I've had from before, so I could hook up the regulator to a small paintball canister. Okay, this paintball canister that I happen to have is for 12 ounces. I'm not sure how long that'll last. And let's see, I have, of course, the diffuser, and so that's the style that I got here today. This is again going to fit in a 12-gallon tank, so I think this diffuser would be plenty fine too. And I got some airline tubing. I was trying to find some tubing for CO2. I believe that's supposed to be silicone, but this is all I could find. So when you apparently have the silicone, I think it's supposed to hold the gas so it doesn't permeate through the airline tubing. But I'm going to wing it and just go with this because it's all I could find right now. And then I've got a crescent wrench, and then I've got this thread pipe sealant that goes around the threads for all my gas connections. This one's actually specifically for gas. There is this other kind of sealant, but this is for plumbing. So I think either one will work, but since this is for gas, I'm going to go ahead and use this since we're dealing with CO2 gas, of course. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do first. Is I'm going to take this adapter and put this around the threads. I'm going to do this twice. So 2 layers right on there. I think that'll be plenty. Not sure since this is the first time I'm doing it, but it's going to screw into the back here. This is the needle valve control, the CO2 airline that goes from the regulator to the tank, connects right here. This is the main input connection from the CO2 canister. I'm going to hand screw this in first, and that seems pretty snug. So 2 layers I think will be just perfect. And of course I'm going to have to tighten this down here. An important step is to do this first instead of hooking up this adapter first to the tank, because this tank doesn't have a shutoff valve. So the shutoff valve is actually going to be the regulator. If you hooked up the adapter first to the canister, you're probably going to have a lot of gas coming out of there. And of course this is really dangerous. This is under high pressure. I'm not sure the amount of pressure, but I would say maybe 100 pounds psi. It could be a lot higher. Please be very cautious with this because we're dealing with a lot of pressure with these CO2 tanks. Okay, that's... Oh, you know what? I made a big mistake here because there's actually a washer that I should have put in there first. So here we go. Make sure you put that in and then screw this in. That would have been probably a big mistake here if I forgot to put that in there. So here we go. Tighten it down with the washer in place. Since this is all new, probably want to check back later on and tighten this down, because when you're using new pieces you tend to not have them all tight because everything is new. So I'll come back and check that later on. Okay, so let's see here. I think I'm ready to hook this up. Plug it in here. Probably need to do this. You know what? I'm going to actually do this later. I am going to do this later until I get everything else hooked up so I don't have everything all bulky on here. So what I'm going to do is hook up the airline tubing. Goes right through here first. There we go. Hook it into the top here. Okay, make sure we get that snug. And then tighten this down. I'm going to say that I could just hand tighten this very tightly, because we're talking about some softer material clamped down with some metal, so I'm going to just hand tighten it really well. Okay. Alright, and then we've got the check valve with the bubble counter right here. Open that baby up. Okay. So I'm going to hook this up here. I'll need to cut a piece of it. I'm going to have to figure out all the measurements, so I'll show you a video later on of how it's all hooked up later on. But this is going to be hooked up through the bottom here, and then it'll go attached to the diffuser on this side over here. Alright, so I'll just show you a video later on of that. Okay, so here's the final setup. I'm going to hook up the airline tubing and everything. So here's my diffuser. Take the screw out, slide the tube in through the hole there, like so. Hook it up to the little nipple there. Make sure I get it all the way down and in. There we go. Screw it down. Hand tightened. Clamps down all the way. And here we go, the other end of the line. I've already got this all measured out here. I kind of test fit it on the aquarium. So these are all the lengths that I need here. Airline tubing again, just like the diffuser. Through the nut onto the little nipple there. Make sure it's all the way down. Tighten that down. Hand tighten it all the way down. And then, of course, hook up this canister to the adapter, the regulator. I already got the gas sealant pipe thread on there, so I'm just going to screw that in and I'll be all set. And then the next video will be, the next segment will be how it's all set up in my tank. Okay, so here's my Fluval Edge 12 gallon, and I do have the CO2 system set up in the tank. Here's the back side. You can see the CO2 diffuser and the line running up and over the tank and then back down. There's the CO2 regulator and tank set up just behind the tank. And that's it. I did make one change from the original video that I set up here. Is the diffuser, I changed it out with the one that I have in the video. I had too much back pressure, so I actually ended up getting this one, and it's not an issue at all. Alright, that's it.